Good morning, everyone, and welcome. Let's start our class with a prayer together. Heavenly Father, Divine Mother, friend, beloved God, Guru Preceptors, Jesus Christ, Babaji Krishna, Lahiri Shaya, Swami Sri Yukteswarji, beloved Guru Deva, Paramahansa Yoganandaji, saints of all religions, we bow at thy feet. Bless us that we might open our hearts to thee, to feel thy love, thy divine presence, through chanting, through devotion, through love for thee. Be with us now. Om. Shanti, Shanti. We'll start with a song by Swamiji, and then an excerpt from a talk by him on this topic. Why is chanting half the battle? Welcome, friends.
Come gather round, we'll sing the blues away. Dawn now is breaking, and the mountains say, it's only light can make the darkness run. Lift up your head, greet the rising sun. Greet the rising sun. Some people think to harvest happiness by weeding troubles, easing every stress. The trouble is that troubles never end. Get rid of one and you face its friend. And you face its friend. It's in your heart. The songs of joy resound. You'll hear but echoes in the world around. Wind on a hill sounds lonely if you're sad, free if you're free, cheerful if you're glad, cheerful if you're glad. Friends, come with me. We'll chant of battles won, shots not of anger. Joy will be our gun. Before the light, the veils of sorrow rend. In inner freedom, all delusions end. All delusions end. That you have to relax the throat and realize that to get the power of the voice, you have to bring it up from below. And this, of course, does require some diaphragmatic breathing, yes, but try to keep relaxed here. When you want to sing, talk, or anything, bring your lungs into it, and then bring it through the heart. Now, I had a group of people, I don't go into this very often, but I had a group of people, about 10 or 20 people, and I decided I would try to show them how to sing from the heart. And I said, all right, now sing Ma, and they just sang Ma with a very thin tone. I said, bring the heart into it. Ma. And they tried to imitate it. Ma. They couldn't get it for a few times, but as I did it, and after about 10 efforts, I could hear the quality change in myself. I could hear it myself in their voices. And they heard it too. Years ago, I was recording a chant. It's a wonderful chant. It's a Sanskrit, actually Sanskrit, Hindi both. Sri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram Om. Sri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram Om. And I sang it with the heart, and it was it was nice, But suddenly toward the end of that recording session, I felt it slip into the cervical center, which is opposite the throat. Now, the heart is the center that expresses love, but the throat expresses calmness, expansion. And I could feel as my voice and energy started to come from here, that there was a sense of expansion. I said to the engineer, "All right, let's do it again." He said, "What do you mean? That was perfect." I said, "No, up to something else. Let me try it now with this." And I did it right away, because it's not so easy to get the energy really centered here. But I recorded that, and some year or two later, a friend of mine was scolding a little 2-year-old child of hers, he loved this chant. He always wanted to hear this chant. And she was scolding him angrily. And he looked up at her and he said, "Sri Ram, Jai Ram." He had felt this calmness, and he was trying to pacify his mother with that vibration. Well, it's so that if you can really bring the energy of your voice even up from this chakra, through this chakra, and out through the head, through the forehead, through the spiritual eye, you will find you can get power.
Good morning again, friends, and welcome. I'd like to begin with a reading from Awaken to Super Consciousness by Swamiji. The Maharani of Kuch Behar told me she'd once asked her family priest why he intoned his chant so loudly. "Well, you see, Your Highness," he explained, "God is far away. If I don't shout, how will he hear me?" And Swamiji goes on to say, God isn't far away, of course. It is we who distance ourselves from him by the noise in our own minds, a noise people often carry with them into their prayers and meditations. Loud chanting does have its place. It is good at the start of meditation, not for the reason that priest gave, but to command attention from our minds. For loud chanting creates a magnetic flow, like a mighty river. It can dissolve the eddies of thought and feeling that meander idly along the banks of the mind. What a beautiful practice Master is given through chanting. I grew up in a Baptist church, and I don't know how many of you have ever attended one, but it's very devotional, very bhakti. In fact, it can be very emotional. And the singing is beautiful, but it continues on, and a lot of things happen in that instance. There's a lot of emotion that comes out. And I just remember as a little girl, I was 4 or 5 years old, and all my life till I was 17, we went to that kind of church. And I would remember sitting next to my mother. I'd be holding my mother's hand. I say my first prayer was to God was about my mother not doing what all those people in the church were doing. Lord, please don't let my mother do that. And I think it kind of worked. My mother never did get out of control, but most people were out of control. And what was missing? The chanting, the singing to God, to Christ was just beautiful, but it never was taken further. It never went into meditation, into stillness. And I realized I had that foundation of chanting, of singing, of bhakti, of devotion, probably many lifetimes. Not all of us have. But then when I came to Master, he taught, okay, take that, you need that, but now lift it up in meditation and you'll be able to go deep. And so Master said chanting is the key. It's half of the battle of life, really, and of our meditation. And he would have people chanting with him in America when he came, and people were so stressed out. They were nervous. Ben Rajasi said when he came to Master, he was a nervous wreck. And Master knew that he had to gather people's energy. He had to have them focus. He had to teach them how to concentrate. He had to get rid of the tensions and the stresses. And so Master introduced chanting with the harmonium in America to his audiences. And he had people chanting with him. We know, Oh God Beautiful, for an hour and a half. Master had people chanting. Why? Because he couldn't really teach them anything until they were calm, centered, consciousness uplifted, heart open. He certainly couldn't teach them how to meditate. And so he started with chanting. And Swamiji, at every lecture, every talk, let alone lecture that I went to hear him at, he started with a chant. Then he had a song. He wrote 400 pieces of music. Why? Because we needed to open up, to be able to let go of the worries, the pains, the stresses, the emotions, the fears, everything, the anger that holds us back. It just opens the door for God to come in, and it touches who and what we really are inside. And so Master was really for chanting, and he had told Swamiji at the beginning that you're going to have a long, dry path unless you develop devotion. And Swamiji was very intellectual, and he was trying to figure things out with his mind. And Master said, you've got to get devotion. So what did Swamiji do? He bought a harmonium. This is a wonderful thing. He bought a harmonium. He started chanting, and he prayed for devotion. And Master told other disciples, he had Durga Mata on a drum when they would chant and beating the drum. And then Dr. Lewis didn't like it. And Master said, Doctor, you better get into it. It burns up, dissolves, breaks up the karma in the spine. And Swamiji said that the stringed instruments like tanpura and the various ones, and a violin, and I played violin and I played cello, coming out of a background where hardly anybody played those, but I think I was seeking those stringed instruments. He said all of those help to open the heart and help to uplift the energy, and that they're all associated, flute as well, and different ones that we know they affect our consciousness. We love them. We feel uplifted. We feel cleansed and purified. He said they all are associated with the chakras. And so chanting isn't a side issue. It's something that it's a vital part of our path. Now let's look at what are the battles that we're fighting. Well, first of all, we're fighting the battle of life, of our daily life. We're fighting the battle of our job or our relationships or things that have happened to us that create a reaction, emotions, stress, fears about things. Things don't go as well as we like. We have karmic bombs that explode. We wonder how we're going to deal with this, how we're going to deal with that. So we're dealing with our daily life. Now, Swamiji wrote those songs for us. Let's just remember that. Master wrote chants. He had adopted chants for us to be able to deal with the delusions of life and to deal with the stresses of life. They didn't write them for them. They wrote them for us. And I mean, my goodness, 400 pieces of music, that's a lot of music. And I remember a time when Swamiji, he was writing those songs and chants, and he was just filled with bliss. And he would say, here's a new chant. Come on, everybody, let's chant this chant. And we would chant that. And he said, oh, here's a new song. Let's sing this song, Cloisters. And he had all people, you play this, you play the drum, you play the cymbals. And there was a musical era at Ananda where he brought that into place and said, we have to have this. It's very important. It's vital in our spiritual life. And so the first thing we're fighting is the battle of life, how to make it through every day, how to be joyful, how to have love in our hearts, how to feel peace of mind, and how to feel calmness in the things that happen to us every day. Now, think about a kirtan. How do you feel after a kirtan? Do you feel stressed out? Do you feel worrisome? Do you feel angry? Do you feel like you just low energy? How do you feel? Do you feel downcast? Do you feel depressed? After kirtan, I was just in Chandigarh. We were singing every day, chanting every day. And how do you feel afterward? Just completely cleansed, uplifted, joyful, loving. Sometimes tears are flowing down your face, and not because you're upset or something's gone wrong. It's because of love for God. You think of Master's chants, door of my heart, open wide, I keep for thee. I have made thee pole star of my life. Listen, listen, listen to my heart song. I will never forget thee. I will never forsake thee. Meaning just the words, he empowered those words with his blessing, his vibration, just singing them along with the music, the app that we have or whatever. You feel like that's just giving you a blessing. And that blessing it's easy. It just goes right into your heart and it uplifts you and cleanses you. So the first battles that we're facing are in our daily life. That everything that's hammering us, every side, every which way. Now I'm playing several instruments because I need them. It's helping me to relax. They're helping me to go deeper in meditation. They're helping me to feel God's presence. They're helping me to feel uplifted. They're helping me to feel joy. And when the stresses of life come, I pull those instruments around. I have a big tanpura, I have a small tanpura, I have an esraj now, I have a new harmonium, I have a gong, I have the cymbals. I have everything that it takes to be able to break through the delusions of this world. And so first level is just the battle of life. Chanting is half. We'll fight half of that battle. Play it in your car. Play it when you go for a walk. Playing the chants. Sing the chants when you're feeling bad. Just sing them in your mind, and you'll find those chants are with you when you go to bed, when you wake up. And secondly, the second battle, let's face it, it's in meditation. How are you going to meditate if you're stressed out all the time? People come from work. They think I'll sit there and I'll just meditate. They're completely tense, stressed, tight. Your heart is closed, your mind is racing. There are all kinds of thoughts. Who knows what's up in there? And you say, now I'm going to go meditate. Well, you need a bridge. You can't just go and hope for the best. So you go in and you start with 5 minutes of chanting. You just feel completely different. You feel changed. Chanting attunes you to God. It attunes you to Guru. It attunes you to his vibrations. It attunes you to Divine Mother's love. It attunes you to peace. All the aspects of God that are within you. It attunes you. And otherwise you're attuned to the world and its delusions. And you can't just bring that and sit in your meditation room and hope for the best. You can't do Hong Sa really. If you need to come with peace, not just to say I've got to have peace. Kriya, you have to come with joy. You can't just say, I'm never going to have joy. So if you chant, joy, 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 ever new joy. I love that chant. From joy I came, for joy I live, and sacred joy I melt. All these chants, you sit and before you meditate, even just put it on your speaker. Listen to the chants and just dissolve the stresses of the day, dissolve the pains. How many pains does a person go through in life, and the suffering and all the things that happen? Just dissolve them. And then you find that you can lift up. The point is in meditation, you're not going down, you're trying to lift up. Chanting takes you to the heart, and from the heart, you can lift up, like Swamiji was saying when he was singing Sri Ram Jai Ram. That from the heart, you can lift that power up, and there's power there. Then you can sit, you can do Kriya with power. And there are so many levels in meditation in the spine. If you keep chanting, I just find that levels, I'm just exploring deeper and deeper levels. I mean, Swamiji's chanted once, he on a talk of how to chant. It was a meditation teacher training course he gave. I think it was 2 or 4 parts. And he said, now this is how you chant. And as soon as he started chanting, he started weeping. He chanted, door of my heart. He just wept the whole time because it's so deep. When I was playing Esraj, I don't even know how to play really well. I started playing and just tears were flowing down my face. I'm not even getting the notes right some of the time, but it's just so deep. It's a deep inner awakening that happens through the music, through the attunement to Guruji and the masters, through the words that have power, and through what happens ultimately, your openness. So what should you do to help yourself with chanting? First of all, get the music app, if you can, and on the music app, and play the music, play it all the time. Get rid of that other music. Be playing it. I often on flights, as you know, and it's like my friend. I play the music, I hear Swamiji, the other Ananda Guru Bhais, and it just protects you. So see it as a protection as well. So first thing, get the music, put it on your phone, listen to it at different times. Listen to it before you meditate. Listen to it after you chant. Listen to it after you meditate. Listen to it during the music. Listen to it when your kids are bugging you, when your spouse is bugging you. Listen to it. Listen to it in the car. And you'll find that it becomes just a life raft to you. And second thing, I'm going to show you here some instruments, but get an instrument if you possibly can. Everybody says, I can't play, but we've had music workshops, and we'll have more of them, where I see everybody going and grabbing an instrument by the end, and everybody's playing something. Tanpura is easy to play. The Tanpura is also the big one. It's easy to play. It's not easy to tune, but it's easy to play. I guess one could learn the tuning. I can't say I've learned it yet. The Tanpura is wonderful. It's just the Om vibration and those notes. And the Tanpuri is easy. It's small. I showed you one time. I'll be showing it on the screen in a moment, but it's very easy to play and very easy to tune. Harmonium is a mainstay instrument. Even if you can't play anything, you can play a chord and just sing Om. It's easy, or a little organ if you can't get a harmonium. And you can also get other instruments, a bell or gong, or stick with the ones that Master played. Master played gong at New Year's Eve. He played harmonium. He played esraj. He played Swamiji played Tanpura. Those are the ones that I would know of. I'm missing a couple of them. And also we use guitar at Ananda as well. There's flute in a lot of the songs that you'll hear in the background, the chanting. It's just wonderful. So get an instrument, and you will find too that singing is one thing, but playing and singing, I mean, like I read sometime earlier, it's like a full body workout for the mind and the heart, that you just get in attunement fast. So I want to close this part with a fun but deep reading that I found from Hare Krishna Ghosh's writings. Sitar also is a wonderful instrument that I love hearing it too. It has this beautiful string sound. So here's the reading. One early morning in the month of September, Sri Yukteswarji came to our house at 4 Garpar Road. At his advice, we arranged for a Nagar Sankirtan that morning. Nagar Sankirtan means marching on different roads by many devotees, singing devotional songs with different musical instruments carried with them. On that day, this musical procession was led by Sri Yukteswarji and Guruji. Many devotees, including myself, my uncle and my father and other relatives, were following them, singing devotional songs. We made many rounds of different streets, and after some time, we came to a certain locality which was inhabited by people of another religion. As we were passing through that area, we found a furious man brandishing a stick over his head and shouting, "Stop the music! Stop the songs!" We stopped in fear and stopped singing, since that man was very furious. At this point, Sri Yukteswarji told Guruji, "Yogananda, you go to that man. You see what is wrong with him." We were more afraid and thought, what will happen to our Guruji if he goes to that angry man? But without hesitation, Yoganandaji stepped forward and stood before that man and said, "What is the matter with you? Why are you so angry? We believe in all religions and are not disturbing anyone. We are only singing our devotional chants. As soon as Guruji uttered these words, we found that angry man totally changed then and there. That man apologized to Guruji and said, I am sorry. You may proceed and carry on with your devotional songs. We started our songs and marched past him. Isn't that beautiful? The effect of music and the power of God to master. Let's show Nitendra the instruments that we wanted to share with people. You can see this is a harmonium there on the left, and the large tanpura on the right. That's an esraj the master has there. And then you have a large tanpura, and go back to the one before, because there was the chota tanpuras on the right. Yeah, that's easy to play and easily accessible. Esraj is not easy to play. I had training in violin and cello, so I'm picking it up okay, but I have to practice a lot. You can see this is the large tanpura and esraj. Then there's the drum kol. This is in Tulsi Bo's shrine, just a little while back on Guru Purnima. And then here's the kirtals on the left and tabla. Tabla, you need to take some lessons. Kirtals, pretty easy, but I would learn from somebody how to play them. Here's some choices for you. Now ask Nitendra for the questions for today.
Thank you, Dhyanaji. The first question, Dhyanaji, is that I'm still learning to chant, and so my voice is not as good. So should I still chant before meditation, or would that rather create more dissonance?
Like, really, who's going to be hearing you? Why don't you chant? Who's hearing you? God? Gurus? Are they going to say your voice doesn't sound good? And so better to go ahead and chant. Yeah, what I found is your voice improves. I've seen devotees. The voice improves as you chant. If you say, I can't chant, I think your voice might get worse. But if you just say, okay, I'm doing my best, just if you're in a group, chant more softly until you feel like you're in tune with the notes. It's important to be in tune with the notes, but I'm doing Saregama. So you can do that. You can get online, get on YouTube. Saregama Padani Sa. You can do that and get your voice to actually match some notes. So what am I saying? Don't be passive and say, I can't sing. Learn. And I know in Gurgaon, we have harmonium classes. I think Chandigarh, I think various places centers have harmonium singing classes. So work at it. It's an important thing. I know Swamiji told all the acharyas at Ananda, this was years back, he said, do your own chanting before your classes. Now, before that, people would drag in anybody who could chant, who could play the harmonium and have them chant for them. And Swamiji said, no. So you had people, Jayaji, Jyotishji, they didn't know how music at all, but they learned a few chants and they did what Swamiji said. They chanted the chants themselves. Why? You're connecting with the congregation, with the audience, with the Sangha. And so when I chant, I'm connecting with God. So feel you're connecting with God. It's not you connecting with the neighbor who's going to bang on your door and say, stop singing or whatever. Get your voice better. Voice turns very sweet if you start chanting, isn't it? Now, what does that mean? Your heart's turning sweet. Your mind is getting more clear. Your whole body has got an aura of music. You can look at somebody's face and see if they're musical. The face is more sweet, is more calm. The eyes are more bright. There's energy. There's a big aura around. And otherwise, I saw a person recently at a Sangha, and that they had a dark aura. It wasn't, anyway, you get what I mean. You can clean up your aura by chanting. If you've been out at the mall or you've been out somewhere and in the airport is my whole thing. Airport and the airplane, you come back and you start chanting and you get all that vibration off of you. So use it as a tool of cleansing as well.
Thank
you have anything else?
A few live questions.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah. One is, I have been wanting to play the guitar, but looks like it is not one of the recommended instruments. So should I still go ahead and learn to play?
I mean, we play guitar with Ananda music all the time. I mean, if somebody can play. So I would say, yes, go ahead and learn. Now, people probably don't know this, but the guitar came into Ananda once we started our work in Italy in the 80s, early 80s. I was there myself. And Swami, we were associated with a group that played the guitar. Beautiful chants, beautiful. And Swamiji thought, he said, well, at Ananda, we get slower and slower and slower on the harmonium. And that's what I find too. And then people kind of get out of tune and then they go to sleep sometimes. And so he added the guitar, not for all the chants. We had tabla from the very beginning because people couldn't keep the beat. And I was trained in music, but I have a metronome now on my phone because I thought I was keeping the beat. But my music teacher said, no, you're not keeping the beat. It should be. I mean, how many people keep the beat and how many people keep in tune? I wasn't even keeping in tune. So anyway, the guitar helps you to hear better, hear the sound, and it also helps the heart. Now, Natindra and I realized that we didn't have the guitar. It was too late to put it up there, but the guitar could and should have been up there. So yes, go ahead with the guitar. But just don't, I think some people go to the guitar and they just go, they're gone. Master said chanting, Swamiji said Master never did a kirtan. Now we need to keep that in mind. He had chanting, and that Swamiji said the chanting should be, kirtan should be chanting with longer and longer periods of meditation. Now who does that? Hardly anybody. People get whipped up and they keep going, they keep, it just, we have to calm down. So strong chanting, more and more quiet, more longer and longer meditation, then boom, just go into meditation. So I think the tendency with guitar is just keep going and the drum, blah, 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 then the person's completely lost. So take control of it and just go inside afterwards and you'll find, whoa, you've opened up a huge space that wasn't open before. That's what I would say.
One last question, Dhyanaji. Being born in a religious family, we actually hear a lot of chants and mantras right from our early age. So how do we balance those with the Ananda chants?
Well, are you still listening to them? Are you still playing them? Are you still doing it? I mean, if you're still doing it, why do you have to stop? I mean, most people I know do a little bit of that. I mean, it's okay. It's not a big deal. But if you go into that and that's what you're doing, period, and you just, so Master's chants are an add-on. It's not an add-on. It's the main thing. Master's chants and Swamiji's chants, they're the main thing. It's not once I finish chanting Hari, 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 whatever, then I'll get to that. And I've seen people, they go into those and then they got one of Master's chants in the whole session. It's not right. It's not right. He spiritualized the chants. What does that mean? He sang them over and over and over till he just went into a deep divine experience with God. And then he said, if you chant this, you will go into that state. Now, it takes time to go into that state, but he opened the door. So there's traditional chants we chant, but don't be mistaken. Master put his power, his blessing into those chants. And Swamiji said every song he wrote, he attuned them to Om, meaning from his own deep meditations, Om. So that's the end result. You're in Om and you don't need to chant anymore, isn't it? You chant till you don't need to chant. That's the point. When you go into samadhi, it's all inner. You don't have to try to keep opening the door. Chanting opens the door of the heart, door of my heart, open wide. How many people's heart is open? It's like this much, maybe this much, then it closes back. So we're trying to, you chant enough, your heart is going to open up and you're going to find places inside yourself you didn't even know you had. God bless you all. Thank you, Natindra. Have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.